So anyways, I'm in the UK, and these days there are protests every single weekend, and in fact almost every day, against these things: mass immigration, Islam in the public square, sexual assaults coming from migrant hotels. And instead of dealing with the underlying issue, the core issue, the root cause, as leftists like to say, the government is dealing with the secondary effects, the reactions and responses. Stop the protests, stop criticism on social media. They're not focused on fixing the problem. Foreign migrants crossing over in little dinghies from France illegally, throwing their ID into the sea, living in these posh hotels, some of them 4-star hotels, everything paid for, and then taking advantage of the high trust society to rape their way through the UK. I mean, the statistics in the UK are shocking. But instead of dealing with the underlying issue, the government there is dealing with the reactions to the issue. You can see this a few months ago when a woman named Lucy Connolly, who was the wife of a politician, made a tweet about migrant hotels. It was over the top, but she took it down quite quickly. 31 months in prison for that tweet. Or the other day at Canary Wharf, a fancy area of London, there were people protesting against a 4-star migrant hotel. Police simply issued a notice banning protests for a month. Just a police order, no court involved. Just, hey, no more protesting. It was quite something.
Okay. Right. There's a section 42. Section 42 in place of the 2001. You're causing distress or harm to the resident of this hotel. Yeah. You have to leave now and not to return within 28 days to this area. If you don't, you will be arrested. Okay?
So you're telling me that we're not allowed to come back and protest
for 28 days because you're causing distress or harm to the resident of this hotel.
Is there anything?
If you don't comply with that,
we need the area to get
you will be arrested. So you need to clear out
the area to start.
Which all brings me to Tommy Robinson's new charges. Now, you'll remember, I went to London because my friend Tommy Robinson, who's a key activist on all the issues I was just describing, he was in a train station. Someone identified him and came to beat him up. Tommy shouted at him to back off. He didn't. At the last moment, Tommy punched the bad guy who went down like a sack of potatoes. Tommy immediately called the police to let them know what happened. Tommy's lawyer called the police the next day. Tommy went back. He was abroad. He had a business trip abroad, but he came back early to be interviewed by police. And luckily, the surveillance footage in that train station showed exactly what Tommy had said, that this man made a beeline for Tommy, threatened him. Tommy retreated. The man proceeded. Knock on wood, there have been no charges laid, and Tommy was not jailed. He was bailed that night. So that's what I went there for, because I didn't think he would be bailed, and I wanted to cover the court case as I often do. At 1 a.m., after interviewing him for hours, the police said, okay, we're not going to charge you, at least not for now, on that subway incident. But here's what's incredible, and I didn't know this until I met Tommy for my interview with him. At 1 a.m., the cops said he was free to go on the subway fight. But for the next 2 hours, seriously, from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. at the police station with the lawyer there, the police talked to him about 3 tweets that he made, one of them more than a year old. Now, this is the first one, and it's still on the internet. I'm going to read it to you. Kobe Nazrul Primary School, that's the name of a school, in London's East End, has been named as the first in the UK where none of the children's first language is English. The school sits in a quiet side street off the busy commercial road in Whitechapel, a district once synonymous with Jack the Ripper and the Cray twins, and home to the nation's true Cockneys. Now this. That's an interesting story. Imagine a school where not a single child is British. They're not even, children of immigrants. These kids are all foreigners themselves. English is their second language, an entire school. But the police argued with him for 2 hours. Have you heard my interview with Tommy yesterday? One of the things that they said to Tommy that was racist about this was Tommy was denying that these kids from Bangladesh or wherever could be Cockney. You know what Cockney is? It's a working class. It's a culture. It's also a way of speaking. Like Michael Caine would do a Cockney way. It was in the UK. They have so many different accents. It is rooted in a certain geography and class, and you can't just say I'm converting to Cockney or I'm moving to East London. I'm Cockney now. It would be like saying you're pure laine Quebecois. You can move to Quebec, but you either are or aren't a Quebecois. The police were arguing with Tommy, saying it was racist for him to insinuate that these children from Pakistan or wherever were not Cockney. Just unbelievable. And then this one. He took the same tweet and he just added the word, shh, we are supposed to celebrate this diversity. So he just took his first tweet and added, we're supposed to celebrate this diversity. Police said that that was a crime to say that. And then this one. Now, this is offensive, to be sure, but is it a crime, an actual crime? You'll see Tommy just retweeted an image from some guy who made it. If it is a crime to say F Palestine, is it also a crime to say F Israel or F Zionism or F the Jews? Because that's happening an awful lot these days online and in real life. I haven't seen any arrests of anyone calling for death to the Jews in Canada or the UK, have you? Let alone just F them. That last one was tweeted by Tommy in May of 2024. And police have been holding on to it. And they're now proceeding against him. And they're calling these crimes. Those documents I took pictures of, those were the sort of the charge sheet that Tommy received at the police station. They grilled him about these with his lawyers for 2 hours on Monday night from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Now, we're not there yet. Canada is not quite there yet. But I have to say, it feels like we're just a few minutes behind. As you know, we had something called the Online Harms Act. And the only reason it's not law right now is because Justin Trudeau prorogued Parliament in January or December so he could get out of a possible non-confidence vote. In the UK, the new censorship law is called the Online Safety Act, very similar to what I just described here in Canada. Online Safety Act, Online Harms Act, really it's global censorship. And they are effectively criminalizing criticism of those issues we talked about before, Islamism, radical Islam, even criticizing any form of Islam, talking about mass immigration. Police are acting as if those blasphemy laws are already in place. But it's one layer worse. And again, I'm not sure if you watched my interview last night with Tommy, but he said that the school story he quoted was basically word for word from a story published in the Daily Mail, which is a huge newspaper over there. I think it actually has the largest readership just by sheer numbers in the UK. Tommy asked the police, how could it be a crime for him to tweet those words, but not for the Daily Mail itself? And they actually said to him, because they were licensed journalists and he's not. That is what they said to him. So yeah, Tommy beating the rap for his subway incident, that's why I went to the UK, to see if he could stay out of jail. But him being pursued by real police with real guns, actually I don't think they have guns in the UK, for publishing tweets, that is not what I expected. But that's absolutely what I was there to talk about. Hey, by the way, I don't know if you heard my announcement. We are taking a whole team of Canadians and others to London for Tommy's big free speech rally on September 13th. That's a Saturday. I'm going to be a speaker there. But I thought, well, why don't we invite Canadians to come with us? And why don't we have a nice dinner with Tommy a couple nights in advance of that? Just our team, have a nice meal and Tommy can talk to us and take selfies or whatever. And then I thought, well, why don't I build a little conference around that? And I've recruited politicians and journalists and activists. So if you are interested by the United Kingdom, by Tommy Robinson, by censorship, by what's going on over there, consider coming. Now, it's not cheap. You got to fly to London. Hotels in London are very expensive. We're renting a tour bus because we're going to take one day and we're going to go into the country and see that it's not just London there. There's other parts to it. But it's going to be, and on Saturday, of course, we're going to go to the big rally. If that's your kind of thing, and if you have a budget that can handle it, because it's not cheap, I got to say, it's actually the most expensive trip Rebel News has ever done. You should come because it's going to be the trip of a lifetime. It's going to be amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if Tommy's rally on September 13th has 100,000 people. That was actually what I was worried about, is this whole subway thing would have got him thrown in jail for his rally. So if you find these stories interesting, if you think the lessons learned in the UK are important for us here in Canada, why not come with me? And by the way, Alexa Lavoie and Avi Yamini are coming too. So you'll have a chance to hang out with me, Alexa and Avi. Go to freespeechmission.com to learn more. It's not for everyone. It's a 5-day thing. Not everyone can take that time off, and it's expensive because you got to get to London, and then there's the hotels and meals. But I think it's going to be amazing.